It's an honor for me to be here today and to honor these seniors. This senior class has been outstanding. And is tomorrow Senior Day or Parent Day? What is the class? Seriously, Senior Day? I mean, I think ultimately it's a tribute to the parents for the sacrifices. And you players, as you go out in the field tomorrow, just remember that time in grade school, you know, when you maybe broke your arm and you had to go to the emergency room at 10 o'clock at night and your mom or dad took you there, your brother took you there. I mean, tomorrow's game is a little bit of an honor to them, for the parents, the sacrifice, the commitment they made to get you to 2-a-days when you were a freshman in high school, didn't have your license, they had to pick you up. They had to drop you off at 7 a.m. and pick you back up at 9 and then take you back at 3:30 and all that stuff. So I think tomorrow's ultimately an honor to the parents, a great recognition for the sacrifice and commitment that they made to these student athletes. But you know, when I think of football, and obviously, how many of you guys on the senior team were born in 1987? Really? You were, how old were you? That's how fleeting it is. That's how fleeting it is. But fortunately for us, back in 1987, I was part of a group. Coach Ferentz was on that staff. We went into Columbus, Ohio, and it got the first victory that Coach Fry and his staff had ever had in Columbus. And the only thing I can remember about it was just a great team effort, back and forth game. Great players, Bo Pelini, who's now the coach at Nebraska, Chris Spielman, who does some color, who had a great NFL career, was on that team. And just a sense of urgency, but not a sense of panic. And the exhilaration of watching or listening to 87,000 people at the time go from a deafening roar to an eerie silence was ultimately the greatest experience that I've ever had. 2,500 Iowa fans up in a corner that you could actually hear a little bit in the background screaming their heads off. But a great, I guess that's what it's all about. I mean, like I said, each year it's fun for me to see my name drop down on the list. And a couple of years ago, with this group of guys, I was sitting in an event, a TV event with Dan Dickel, and we were talking about, someone wrote a book about the greatest plays in Iowa history. And I think at that time, this play might have been number 2, but Dan Dickel, who at that time made a great point, said, well, this is the type of game that leads to another one of those type of events. And if those guys remember, 3 years ago was Penn State, or 2 or 3 years ago, Penn State was playing here in Kinnick Stadium. We kicked the last-second field goal by some guys in the senior class to win that game and did a great victory at Kinnick Stadium. And I think of this group of guys in the last 3 years that they played football here at the University of Iowa, and I talk about moments. You know, I look back at that Penn State game. I look back at UNI last year with 2 blocked field goals to win the game. I look at you know, the Ohio State game last year, going in there with a backup quarterback and him throwing that slant there for a touchdown early. And we're, you know, looking at my kids going, we're in this thing, you know, and thinking probably no one in the world thought we would be in that game. And then DJK takes that kickoff back for a touchdown. I'm like, man, we got a chance of this thing. And it's about the moments. And I think a lot of times we lose sight of that in BCS ratings and rankings and all this stuff. We look ahead, we look ahead, we look ahead, and we don't take time to enjoy the moment. And that's what football's all about. It's a schedule, and it's one at a time, and it's ultimately the experience of that Saturday and that moment of going out there and trying to represent your school, your university, your families, and yourself and your teammates each and every Saturday that you go out there. And at the end of the season, then you add them all up, and then they tell you if you get to play again. Unfortunately for us, this group of guys has had a ton of moments. You know, I think back at last year, Penn State, watching us go down there and we fell behind early. And I'm unbelievable sitting on my TV with high def, looking in with the camera panning in and seeing the defensive huddle and just no sense of, you know, panic, just a sense of, you know what, determination, desire, we're going to get after it. And then when Adrian Claiborne blocked that punt and took off running with that ball, we talk about a moment. Unbelievable, right? State last year, going back and forth, you know, we were winning. They scored, you know, with 1:30 to go. Ashton over there is going crazy, getting all worried. I'm like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. We marched down the field, and then Stanzi hits McNutt on that slant route. What a moment, right? Michigan State coming in here, top 5 or 6 ranked team, and just getting rolled out. Michigan State. Another great moment. The one thing that I always look for, I'm a Hawk. I'm a former Hawk, and as an alumni, the one thing that I always look back is I want to see a group of guys that play with passion. I want to see a group of guys that play with heart. And if they do that, I'm always happy. I'm always pleased with the outcome. Here's the statistics of this group of guys. In the last 3 years, they haven't won 10 times. It's been by a total of 33 points. Not one game have they been out of it by more than 6 or 7 points. Not one game in 3 seasons. That's amazing. That gives us as fans moments to be in every single game and enjoy every single minute of that 60-minute game or whatever the overtime game is. And so thank you, seniors, for that opportunity to be fans and watch you guys do it. As I said earlier, the one thing that I truly look at, and I can honestly say, and if you do everything in your life this way, if you prepare, you get up and you have a desire and you work at it, and you do what the coaches tell you, and you do the things that you need to do on a daily basis to get out there and be successful, and you give it all your all for that 60 minutes, you never, ever lose. Ever. And I truly believe that. This is a group of guys that has the ability for the first time ever in history to win 3 straight bowl games. I mean, that's the group that this seniors put together. When they were here as freshmen, or redshirt freshmen, we didn't go to a bowl game. And that's where this group has taken this team to the expectations. And that's why I said at the beginning of this thing, I'm not a big fan of the BCS and all that stuff because, you know, did they do enough? It doesn't matter. Did you win? Did you represent your school? Did you do the things you need to do to be successful? And ultimately play hard each and every game. And that's why I love watching this group of guys play football. Because the thing that I've always said is when I watch an Iowa football team, I just want to see effort, heart, and passion. And the great thing about these group of guys is I think we've seen that every single time they take the field. And I'm excited about tomorrow because it is Parent Day. And I remember my senior day. I remember it's been 24, 25 years. And I think of my high school coach. I think of my mom who made sacrifices for me and the commitment she made to me to help me go out and pursue my dream, which was playing at the University of Iowa. And I cherish that time. And this is one more moment that you guys have to go out and represent the University of Iowa. Wear that Tiger Hawk helmet. Remember the first time you put it on and you swarmed out that field? I was emotional. I was crying under my helmet. I mean, I fulfilled a lifelong dream. The first time I warmed up for 15 minutes and then I stood on the sideline for 3 hours. It was still one of the greatest moments of my entire life. But tomorrow's your last opportunity to do that. It's your last opportunity to put on the Tiger Hawk helmet, to come out there, swarm it out, hold your teammates' hands, and swarm that field. And the great thing about tomorrow is you get to have a family member there waiting for you, and you get to share that day with them. And I truly, truly thank you, as a former Hawkeye, as a fan of Hawkeye football, as an alumni of this great university. I truly thank you for the way you represented yourself, this institution, your families, each and every day that you play football at the University of Iowa. It's truly been a pleasure to watch you guys play. I'm looking forward to watching 3 more great games with you guys, and I wish you continued success. The great thing I can honestly tell you about these guys, and Coach Ferentz and his staff, is I've had the luxury of being a benefactor of what these guys do after football. You know, and you meet guys like Alex Canals, Jamie Murphy, Ed Hinkle, and you see the kind of people they are, the young men they've turned into be, and it's a tribute to Coach Ferentz and his staff and the administration at the University of Iowa, because these guys, they're not only successful on the football field, but these guys are going to go out and be lights and shining lights in the communities across this country. And they're going to always represent the University of Iowa extremely well. So I'm very, very honored to be a part of you guys. Wish you guys continued success. And I wish I could be there tomorrow. It's going to be the first home game I've missed this year, but I've got a prior engagement I got to take.